Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the All About Digital Marketing podcast. Today, I'm recording the second in a small mini series of sort of 3 episodes, and I'm hoping that will end up coming out week after week and help give you guys a little bit more insight into how we can use graphics as part of our social media marketing, and especially online, digital. We need a way to stand out from the crowd. And I think graphics is one of the key ways that you can do that. And I think it's an easy first step into then figuring out video or animation or anything else that you might want to do. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the formats for graphic posts. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is for a lot of us, we've kind of fallen into this idea that we need to be all things to all men on all platforms everywhere. And to be honest with you, I'm finding it ridiculously difficult. Whether it be for us, whether it be for clients, every single week almost, we end up with a new type of post that we need to create for a particular area or for a particular platform or for a particular new feature. And what ends up happening is that as you slowly add these things on, it's a bit like the idea of the straw that broke the camel's back. Eventually, there's just one little piece of straw that on its own probably wouldn't be such a problem. But if you continue to keep adding new platforms, new formats, new styles, new ways of having to do this, it becomes very, very challenging to keep up. So what am I talking about here? Let's have a look really quickly and think about this in the sense of, let's take Instagram, only Instagram. So on Instagram, we know that we can take a photo, add it, chuck it up onto our Instagram feed, and that is a way for us to create content. But if we use Instagram properly and we try and use all the features of Instagram, we know that Instagram, we can also do carousels. So now we can add up to 10 images, and we can add all those 10 images as one post on our Instagram feed. Now, if we really want to take advantage of that, we should start creating 10 images that kind of tell a story, maybe, like that you can flip through, or 10 images that connect in some way, shape or form, so that we make sure that the user understands what it is that we're trying to purvey or show in that particular post. But now let's add in the fact that we can also create short videos to chuck onto our newsfeed. So now we're already looking at 3 different types of content that we can create just for Instagram and just for our feed. And this is where it becomes challenging, right? These are 3 different things that can vary enormously, from a simple snap, grabbing your phone right now, taking a photo, me recording, use that to chuck up onto Instagram and just say, hey, I'm recording a podcast episode. That is what it is. But actually, if you want to start doing graphics, then that requires a whole another set of things for you to do. So now you're going to be trying to use a platform, whether it be Photoshop, whether it be Canva, whether it be something, to create that, and then also take maybe the selfie shot that you just took of doing this and then put that into something like Photoshop to then be able to add your logos or to be able to add a quote or to be able to do something more with it. And it doesn't stop there. We're still just talking about Instagram, right? So now on Instagram, we've got IGTV for longer format videos. And obviously that longer format video can then also help to push back shorter clips onto the feed. And then obviously we get to stories. And stories is another whole different thing. Now, no longer is it okay to take our photos this way. We now need to also be taking everything in portrait mode, so that we have portrait as in not landscape, not portrait mode as in on the iPhone for photography. But the idea is that we're taking everything now in portrait mode so that we can then create this stories environment for our users to listen and to look at what we're doing as well. So now we're currently at 4, 5, 6 different things already, and we're still just talking about Instagram. If you add in then reels and creating short video content with different clips clipped together, we've got more than enough hard work to be doing right now, and that's, I think, one of the biggest issues. Thankfully, a lot of these things will double up. So if you have an Instagram story, you can use the same design and principles for a Facebook story. And in fact, you can even cross post so that those things take care of themselves. But for everything else, actually, that's a lot of content to be making, right? So should you be making square ones for Facebook and Instagram, or should you be using portrait imagery so that you can use it for the stories? Or what about LinkedIn? Does it look better if it's wider or longer, or how does that actually look? And this is, I think, where a lot of people end up kind of realizing, wow, it's an absolute mishmash out there of trying to figure out what the best thing to do is for the best channel, for the best sizing, for the best way for it to look and for it to actually be coming up on their users' screens. And I think, to be honest with you, choose a couple. If you're struggling with trying to do this across all these platforms, and it is across all these platforms, whether it be Twitter, again, same thing. You've now got fleets and you can still do videos and you can do tweets and we can do all sorts of things. LinkedIn, we all know that, the slide decks that we can share on there as well, PDFs that are flickable to go through, imagery, video. We've now got live capabilities for some people. We don't yet, but eventually we will. And then they added stories as well. Facebook is the same thing. Everything from live videos to video, to imagery, to stories, it's never ending. It's never ending. So what's some of the key ways that you can redefine this and to kind of make sure that you can figure out a way to make this work? And one of the key things that we talk to a lot of people about, especially the small businesses that we work with, we don't want to try and get you on as many platforms as possible and fail on lots and lots of different platforms. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's be honest, if we try to take on all the different platforms and if we try and say, right, we're going to post on all of those consistently with quality audience and objective focused content, and then we keep adding new platforms because they keep popping up, right? TikTok, Clubhouse, whatever else we want to add today. Eventually, we're going to get to a point where you're going to need one hell of a big team just to keep knocking these things out. And that's what I'm here to talk about. When you're a small business, when you don't have those unlimited bandwidth, resources, time, money, budgets, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be really important to bring this back to basics. Come back to what are the key things that I need to start doing, and we think graphics are one of the simplest ones. So in the last part of this little mini series of the 3 episodes, we will be talking explicitly and just purely about all of the different platforms that we can suggest that we think that you guys would like to use. But what I think is really important is this little key tip. That's what all of this has actually been coming down to. Stop beating yourself up trying to do all these things. Stop trying to make stories and fleets and videos and TikTok challenges and Clubhouse audio and podcasts and whatever. It becomes too much. I know we've struggled, even us, this is what we do for a living, but it's still hard to continuously keep creating at a decent level. So what we've done is, and what we're starting to do is we're reducing. We're actually saying, what we want to be focusing on is video, for example, or graphics posts or quote graphics or whatever it might be that we're going to be focusing on. And by pulling that together and saying, this is what we're going to do, we can start to find small wins and easy ways around this. So one of the key ones that I was going to suggest is, yes, if you're doing portrait images for stories or whatever, that's one thing. For everything else, a really quick tip and a really easy one, square graphics work really well across the board. They'll look decent on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, pretty much anywhere that you post them, on Twitter. And it's a quick win and it's an easy win on the basis of, if you do this and if you haven't got the time to create multiple versions of the same graphics, then this is a really simple, quick win for you. Find ways to create one square graphic that really captures your message, that also interrupts that pattern, so that when people are scrolling through this and they're going through their Facebook feed or their Twitter feed or their Instagram feed, bang, that image comes up and that image looks good. The second thing that I would say in terms of these cheats is, make sure that you're using them in the right way on the right platforms. I know that sounds really silly, but for example, don't auto post, super simple, an Instagram post to your Facebook post with 30 hashtags at the bottom of it. There's no win. Remember that on Facebook, you can include links that are clickable. You can write a lot more text. You can do all of these things. So I'd rather see you post less content and take advantage and maximize that content rather than the other way around, posting more and more and more and more and more and just losing that kind of influence and that kind of impact that content can have. So again, how to format your graphic posts. If you don't have enough time to do all those various different formats, one of the easiest wins is just do a square. You'll see that it works out quite nicely, except obviously for stories where you just need that length. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to drop in a link to a very simple web page that we've created on the All About Digital Marketing podcast website, and that's going to have a few of the other details of the ideal sizes for how to create your Facebook cover profiles, images, whatever you need, and also the best ways to post. Again, these things get updated quite regularly, and it's not always the right options there, but this is going to really help. And in the third and final episode of this little mini series, I'm going to go through exactly how you can make these things and how you can make these graphics really easily with some software that you probably already got on your computer right now. I'll almost guarantee it, but make sure you check in to get that on the next episode. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening or watching, whichever one you're doing. Remember, these are all available on YouTube as well, and I'm looking forward to catching up with everybody very soon, hopefully trying to do some kind of a live event for All About Digital Marketing. But I will keep you informed about that, and that will come soon enough. In the meantime, thank you again. Remember to hit that like button or the subscribe button if you want to get more of this content, and I really appreciate everybody who's been along for this journey so far with us. I'll see you all soon.